The guests were shocked to find that all the exits to their apartment were blocked by a mysterious black wall. And this wall is made of special materials, not afraid of all kinds of destruction, and can block all electronic devices. The residents trapped in the apartment tried to escape, so they came to the landlord's floor to look for clues. Although they didn't find anything useful in the room, the attentive Nick noticed that the landlord's living room seemed to be much smaller than the living room upstairs. As a result, under his inspection, he found that the back of the wall was hollow. This also means that there is a hidden secret room. When he was looking for a way to open it, his neighbor took out a remote control from a drawer. He just moved it randomly and there was a noise coming from the secret room. Obviously, this is the remote control to open the secret room. But what's the password? What did Nick suddenly think of? He only saw him gently blowing the flower to the remote control, and 4 fingerprints appeared in the next second. And the 4 numbers are a combination of 24 groups. After continuous trial and error, they finally opened the door to the secret room. All he saw was a few computers in the secret room, and the top is full of surveillance footage. The landlord can clearly see the situation of all the residents through the hidden camera. Obviously, the landlord is a pervert who loves to peep, but now is not the time to care about these things. The top priority is to find out the secret of the black wall, and after going through the previous surveillance video, everyone found that the brick wall was at 4 o'clock. Suddenly, out of nowhere, Nick noticed that the programmer who lived on the first floor, that is Anton's friend, had successfully opened the mysterious black wall. Although the surveillance did not shoot the picture of the black wall opening, but after a series of flashing lights, it can be clearly seen on the wall outside the door, the scene of the corridor lighting up. But they were not happy to return. A terrible scene appeared in the surveillance. Anton suddenly pulled his friend back, and finally strangled the other party to death. Nick, who realized that the situation was not good, rushed back. Hurry. Everything was too late. The old man's granddaughter had been killed, and the neighbor was also abducted by Anton. Nick immediately fought with the other party, but he was so weak that he soon lost consciousness. When Anton was about to die, the neighbor helped in time, which controlled Anton. Then, under the continuous questioning of the crowd, Anton finally told the story. It turned out that he and his killed programmer friend were working for a technology company. Those mysterious black walls were their company's products, and as an old employee of the company, he was very clear that only when there was a virus or a major disaster would the company start this kind of black wall to ensure the safety of the residents. Therefore, he thought that a certain virus had broken out outside, but his friend thought that the system had failed. The two sides said the same thing. Seeing that his friend insisted on breaking the black wall and escaping, in order not to get himself involved, he killed the other party cruelly. Hearing this, they were furious. The only person who could escape was also killed by the other party. They didn't know what to do, but what did the neighbor upstairs find? It turned out that Anton's friend wrote a program overnight. Realizing that the program was the key to breaking the black wall, Nick immediately transferred the program to his cell phone and then focused the cell phone on the black wall. Soon, there were 4 lighting buttons on the phone, but Nick didn't know what the order of the buttons was, so he could only click one at a time and followed him blindly. The black wall reacted instantly, gradually transforming from the original solid into countless particles. The neighbor thought this was the way to the outside world, and curiously reached in. Who knew that the next second, his arm was stuck in the bottom, and the black wall was trying to pull him in. Soon half of his body was stuck in. At the same time, the black wall solidified again. In the end, the neighbor was still dead. Seeing this situation, Anton laughed. And the neighbor's husband was in great pain, and he shot Anton several times in a row. After that, he couldn't accept his wife's departure, and finally chose to kill himself. After this series of tossing and turning, there were only Nick and Lisa left. And the death of the female neighbor also made them realize that the light on the phone was not that simple. It must be like a mobile phone password. You can only unlock the black wall by entering the correct order, and the next 2 people have to be very careful. When Nick tried to press the light button, the flashlights on his phone reminded Lisa of something, because all 4 buttons trigger a certain number of flashes, which means they can use the number of flashes to determine the order of the 4 buttons. And Anton's friend was opening the flash screen when the black wall was turned on, and it happened to be recorded by the surveillance camera. Then the 2 people successfully learned the password. Fortunately, there were new people in the sky. This time, the 2 people finally opened the chat. They went through a lot of trouble, and finally came to the outside world they had been dreaming of. However, the scene in front of them made them stunned. All the buildings were covered with mysterious bricks. The two people who were covered with water could only sit in the car first. Unexpectedly, the radio in the car suddenly rang and said that the Black Wall crisis this time was the nanotechnology company that Anton worked for suffered a major fire. The system was automatically triggered by the destruction of the Black Wall mechanism, which caused this tragedy. And the rest of the people who were wandering outside had already gathered in a safe area. When they heard this, they drove slowly towards the safe place, and the video came to an end.